Hi there, everybody. It's Tom and Tom back with you again. How you doing today, Tom?
Yeah, and if it's confusing, I'm Tom.
Yeah, and I'm Tom. So that should clear that up.
I'm having a great day. We're recording this on a Friday. I've had one of the best weeks of software development in my life. So I'm at the top of the world right now, and excited about this week's and today's topic.
Yeah. And we don't usually make videos on Friday, so this one might be a little more upbeat than usual. But we decided today's topic ought to be about research. Uh, because our focus is on startups and working with founders to build great companies, all of our clients are doing some sort of product or service development. They're building something new. And we have worked with more than our share of companies that are building new things. And of course, you're always going to be at different stages of building new things. When you're a brand new startup who maybe just got a little angel money to start, you know, creating something, you should have already done something called product market fit. Now, product market fit doesn't just come out of the ether, and it
What do you
shouldn't
mean?
just,
It's short prompt into AI.
right. Yeah, that's what I do is just trust Chat GPT with all of my big life-changing decisions.
Here, it'll give a product market fit report.
Yeah, that's right. It'll give you one.
Yeah, it will.
You can believe it or not. It could be good, but a lot of ideas come out of our own experience. Now, we talk a lot in intentional culture about the idea of evidence. We think evidence is so important that it should be like a universal value, that you care about evidence. And evidence takes a lot of forms. When I use the word evidence, a lot of people automatically start talking about data. Well, data is evidence. It's
That's
not the
about
only.
all they think about because I've been around as you brought that up, and they're like, "Well, this isn't really a data thing," and you always have something to say to them.
Right. Like, okay, that's one type of evidence. And the reason we use the word evidence and not data is because evidence is a broader category. Your life experience and the things that you've seen in your world are evidence. So that's okay to use that. But as you take your ideas that you've put together in your head based on your own experience and the feedback you've got from others, you need to go farther in testing that to make sure that you can validate it beyond just the little tiny world that you occupy.
Yeah. So can I illustrate with a story?
Please do.
I was in a startup and we were doing big product software development for a major corporation, now a multinational global corporation. And it was a new review station. So a way to review images digitally, replacing their old one. So the question is, what sort of research do you do? Well, one is you run everything on their existing product. And that's usually where most people stop. And we were talking to them. We had to do a special flight. Their headquarters was in California. We were here in Michigan. They're like, we'll arrange whatever you want for research. And we're like, hey, we want to visit a hospital that's running your system. Because frankly, us running it in our room is not a hospital running your system. It's a totally different thing. We want to visit a hospital running a competitor system. We want to visit a hospital that isn't running any of these digital systems for this particular purpose. And they arranged that. It was delightful. And we go and we played with their system. So we did that research. We went and visited the hospital running their system. So that was a different thing. And it was the hardest thing was to tell their employees not to talk. It's like, we don't want what you, when we ask them a question or they're doing something and we want to ask them what they did, don't you tell them anything. Like, we only want to hear their words. If we want to do research on how their company's marketing and sales thought about the project, we did that. That's what we did at home. I still remember, by the way, because it's just so delightful. When we were at the one that had no digital system, the guy's like, well, we store all of these then in this room in the basement. And he's like, would you like to see that? And we're like, yes. I'm quite sure we're the only people in his life who ever answered yes to that question. You could see the smile light up on his face. Like, you actually want to see this? And we're like, yeah, we really do. We want to see how you do your work. He takes us down. He had organized it beautifully. He told us all sorts of things that we would have never heard any other way. And so for us, it was great. And for him, like, we were there complimenting and excited about what he was showing us in this basement storage room that he had organized beautifully, and nobody had ever asked him a question about it until we came along. So that's going, we got all of that initial research in. And then, and this is my favorite, because we had a team that was going to develop this product for a year or more. We had another team where we hired a couple video game programmers. And as we came up with ideas for user interface, we're like, just program it so that it looks like what we're talking about. And so we had this one track, which was really the design, or we called high-tech anthropology or solution anthropology. They were running, doing design, first paper prototypes, and then the game programmers building things that looked like it worked, but it didn't really work, but it really, really looked like it worked. And they were getting feedback all the time. That's all research. Every time you go out and you have a paper prototype or a mock-up, then our game programmers kicked in. Now you can do it with AI. And you go out and you put it in front of real people who are going to use the system. And we knew that we were getting close when they got so excited by what they were seeing with the game prototype that they would grab the mouse and start wanting to use the system. They're like, can I have this now? Like, when they wanted to drive, we knew we had arrived, and we built that system. It still took a year at that time, maybe two. And we dominated the marketplace, and all of the competitors, for the most part, went out of business for that particular type of thing. We so dominated the marketplace. That sort of research, that real research, what are you doing? Going out, really thinking about studying the people in their context and the anthropology. As you start doing design, doing research on everything you think is obvious, you're often wrong.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting, Tom. Well, if I say to you, what is the number one personal finance software, consumer personal finance software in the marketplace?
Consumer personal?
Yeah.
Probably was QuickBooks originally.
Right. Well, but so before QuickBooks,
what was the one that was just check register?
Intuit just had the Intuit personal finance system.
Yeah.
And Intuit did something that at the time was novel. I don't know if other people do it now, but they did what they call follow the product home. They would like have one of their people stand in an Office Max, and when somebody pulled their product off the shelf, they said, would you mind if we followed you home and watched you use our product? And some people said that they would be willing to accept that.
Yeah. And then you get freaked out when you realize they give up just trying to install it.
But that was a learning for them.
Yeah. The more you do that, everything gets so much better so fast.
I mean, the research, IBM used to, back in the early days of computing, they had dedicated word processors, and they used 8-inch floppy disks that held 75K worth of documents, which was mind-bogglingly huge. Now you
Yeah.
have Christmas cards that have 1,000 times that much memory. But the the floppy disks came in a little sleeve because the window that they were read through, the magnetic disk, it was exposed, so they put it into a little sleeve to protect it. And and they were writing instructions, and they had people who did word processing for a living try these instructions out. And the first instruction was remove the floppy disk from its sleeve. And they took it out of the sleeve, and they started tearing over
Wrapping it open.
the seams to pull the actual disk out of the square
Yeah, they're
thing that it
following
was
the instructions.
inside of.
And this is like, it's like every person is so unique and so different. And when you're trying to build for folks, doing the research and the evidence that comes out of that, it's like I saw a person rip the disk open. That's not like the traditional data, but it is evidence. It is a data point, and you probably don't want to ignore it.
Yeah. Well, you wanna uncover it because you can't even ignore it if you
You can't even
haven't seen
imagine.
it. you
We
you have to
we saw that.
create the opportunity to ignore evidence before you can do that.
And that hasn't not only not gone away, it's invisible now. That's got infinitely worse. And the only thing saving us for those of us who use it is AI, where you get an instruction and you're like, I'm not entirely sure what this instruction means, nor do I want to dive in it. Can you tell me what it means? And only 25% of the time does it make up an answer.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I use some products where I'm convinced that there's a user experience designer on staff that was bored because the product works so well that they felt the need to improve it. And I put improve in air quotes by making some change that actually made the product worse.
I think you and I can experience that every day.
Yeah. But here's the thing that I think a lot of companies confuse. They think that a good UX designer will know how to build a good user interface. They don't know how to. They learn
Yeah.
how to from research. And if
Yes.
you don't have a research team
Mhm.
and they aren't good at it because that's not a thing they do, and you just rely on them, they'll do something.
And we've picked on software, but replace software with marketing, with advertising, with positioning, with strategy.
Yeah.
It applies to all of these.
And consumer products.
Yeah.
Snow blowers and hair dryers and the companies.
Haircuts. We were talking about that before we turned this on.
You can see we both understand how to get a good haircut.
Well, yeah, and we both know at the moment we're not at our best.
You because you're not in London.
Exactly.
And me
And
because
you
I
because
just
you're in a steam room.
I just had a humidifier mishap.
But we'll wind up on research, but I think it's a great introduction to the subject.
Right.
And it's the part of intentional culture that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we understand research. So if that's an area that you feel like you could use some coaching in, reach out to us at beintentional.biz because we would love to help you with that. And in the meantime, we'd love to hear if you have any research stories that you'd like to share with us. And don't forget to click the subscribe button. We need you to do that. We don't have near enough subscribers for YouTube to care about us yet. And so if you're watching this, you have no reason not to click that button. We don't ask at the beginning like a lot of guys do. Like they haven't given you any content yet. And they're saying, click the subscribe button. It's like, why? So far, all you've asked me to do is click the subscribe button. Maybe that works. I don't know. But I
By
feel
the way, user interface, often doing research, does they ever visit a website and you're there for 2 seconds and they're asking you to take a survey? That is bad research.
that's right. Yeah. Yes. We need to learn also when and where, not just how.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great
Thanks, Tom.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.